Hi, folks. Tonight, a sound off and a warning, inspired by what's going on in Ukraine and what's been going on in the skies of the northeastern United States, much of our East Coast, and even now into the Midwest. What's been going on is a condition, now listen carefully, this is serious, a condition akin to nuclear winter. Now, that's something that occurs when smoke and fine particulate debris dims and even blots out the sun, lowering temperatures quickly and dramatically, and casting a weird and alarming pallor over the entire landscape. I saw it right over my house in northeastern Pennsylvania recently. Smoke so thick it could not only be smelled and make you gag, but could actually be tasted. It wasn't from a nuclear war, but it was from hundreds of wildfires burning out of control far to our north in Canada. In New York City, you probably saw the pictures, the famous skyline, all but blotted out, and flights were grounded in several states as airports could not clear flights for landings or takeoffs safely because of the dim conditions and the low visibility. And it persisted, these conditions, for several days. And forecasts are now showing that we're starting to get more of the same as those wildfires continue to burn in Canada. So now, what does all of this have to do with Ukraine? Well, I take it what's going on in our skies above, I take it as a warning, and I hope not a premonition of what could happen if the widening war in that country continues to escalate, which it is, ending eventually or suddenly in a nuclear exchange among nations. Even a so-called limited nuclear war could throw enormous amounts of smoke and debris into the atmosphere, and that could drift from Ukraine into Europe and even into the United States. And if it becomes an all-out nuclear war involving the US, Russia, and various NATO nations, the entire globe would be enveloped in a nuclear winter that would last for years. And what would happen then? Well, let's look at what happened 65 million years ago. That's when an asteroid slammed into the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, creating a global shroud of smoke, dust, and debris lasting for several years back then. With no sunshine reaching the ground of the earth, plants and all sorts of vegetation died off, and so did most forms of animal life on the earth, including the gigantic reptiles, those mighty dinosaurs who ruled the land untouched for millions of years before. And what would be our fate when the missiles start flying? You say it can't happen. You say that world leaders wouldn't be dumb enough to engage in such a suicidal conflict. Is that what you think? Well, the reality is that the war in Ukraine continues to escalate. You can see it day after day, and the U.S. continues to send more money, billions upon billions of dollars, supplies, and increasingly powerful weaponry. So with all of this happening, what will Putin do if he continues to be pushed against the wall? Will he then do something rash, like using tactical nuclear weapons to head off a massive invasion of his homeland and the end of his regime? And then, will the U.S. and NATO respond in kind? And how far will it go from there? And what about the prospects of a miscalculation, a miscommunication, or even a renegade general setting in motion something that cannot be stopped? Look, folks, what's going on in Ukraine is increasingly dangerous for the entire world, and as yet there is no end in sight. Now, perhaps leaders here and abroad will come to their senses, perhaps, but perhaps not. And if they don't, well, just consider how we in the Northeast are getting just a taste of what a nuclear winter would be like in the skies above us. And we haven't even mentioned the effects of radiation poisoning the atmosphere, soil, and water for hundreds or even thousands of years. Something to think about, folks, before you go to bed at night, if you can get to bed at night. Sorry about that, folks. Until then, good night.